Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Vecchione.
And I'm Greg Stone.
And we are the Macaroni Rascals. It's a great new podcast. Me, my friend Greg Stone, we riff, we talk Italian stuff, we talk comedy. We basically just have a good time. Greg?
Yeah, I think it's great, and you're great. I love you, and we'll do more.
I love you, and I love doing this podcast from the darkest corner of your apartment.
Hello, welcome to Macaroni Rascals. I'm Rascal number one, Greg Stone. I'm here with good friend of the show, also co-host, also a good friend of mine, Mike Vecchione.
Hey, can I ask why you get to be Rascal number one? We didn't even talk about that. We didn't talk about it.
It goes by height.
Oh.
First. Then it goes by who has given more to society. Me.
You have. You did have a kid. You had a child, Calvinucci. Calvinucci is the next president.
Do you hear him crying?
Yeah, that's his campaign slogan.
He just said, "Dad, stop doing a podcast. Pay attention to me. I'm in a room alone screaming." I said, "No, the fans need their fans need the Rascals more than you need.
The fans need content. Does he not get that?
Doesn't understand it at all.
Yeah,
he doesn't care about content.
Yeah. Well, you know, the fans a lot of times are crying for more content. So do you listen to the cries of your firstborn son, or do you listen to the Rascals? I say Rascals.
I would argue that he's my second-born son. My firstborn son is all the fans. The fans are my firstborn children.
Thank
you.
The
Visionariums. Dan DiCarlo, my main man. That's a shout-out that I know we were going to wait till the end. Also, Stephen Duran, another shout-out. Check out, this is the members-only jacket. Visionary, all Greg Stone fans were ordered to purchase these. So if you ever see someone walking around, you know they're a Greg Stone fan.
With the members only?
Yep, that's the Visionariums. That's my cult. Well, big fans. I guess I'm out of gas. I don't know. You got time for this?
No, I'm ready to go, dude. I'm ready to go.
Are you juiced? All right, let me hand you the.
And you know what, Greg? I don't know. I'm not a tech guy like you are. You're a tech guy. I want a microphone. I think that gives you a lot of power over me. I'm just talking into the screen like a psycho, and you have a microphone, so it looks like you're in show business, and I'm not. Looks like I'm on a Zoom call, and you're in show business.
I'm going to come to your house, give you a full setup. So you have a microphone, wire, headphones. We can run this thing from your house. I got so many goddamn wires and so much extra equipment. I could bring some to your house and give you a setup. And then I could just come to your house sometimes and record. You'll have to buy.
You got to bring all the equipment, though. You got to bring all the equipment.
Well, I'm saying I'll give you some equipment that we could keep at your house. I have some extra equipment.
Yeah, and then that'll keep you doing the podcast. Because if you don't do the podcast and you try to fake an illness or fake love to your son and try to get out of it, then I have all of your equipment.
My extra equipment. I'm saying I'll hook you up with extra equipment.
Oh, okay.
And then, I put it on the arm. You know what I mean? But the VIG on that, after 2 years, you owe me a few extra wires.
I'm going to have to pay VIG?
VIG? I mean,
I'm going to have to kick it upstairs? I'm going to have to kick it upstairs?
You got to kick up a little bit of electrical equipment up.
I'm going to kick up a VIG for electrical equipment. And then who do you kick it up to? Tita?
Calvinucci.
He's running things behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Tita, my wife, is merely the milk supplier. I am the assistant to the milk supplier. Right. And Calvinucci is the boss.
He's the CEO. He's the CEO of the Stone Zone.
That's Logan Paul, man. I go, hey, you want some milk? He goes, fuck off, child, and get out of here. I do not care. That was almost a good impression. Do you watch Secession?
I love Secession.
Yeah, that's a show you would love.
Yeah,
power, strength, municipality. What are the words you say? What are you always say? That give me some ones.
Power, championship. Champion. Infinite intelligence, success. Infinite intelligence, dog.
That's not a big swing. You don't think that's a big swing? You're just going to go for infinite to know that of which God knows?
Yeah.
Infinite intelligence?
Greg, you are a creator.
Know the cosmos?
You are a creator just like God is a creator. God is a higher level creator, but you are his creation and you in turn are a creator.
What you just said, can we take a pause for a second and be real?
Yeah.
That is something I always said about religion. Now, I'm not a very religious person, but I do love religion. When people always say that we were made in God's image, I always said it's not man or woman, it's creator.
Right.
If we were made in God's image, it is to create. So we should never staunch creation.
Right.
That's what I believe. That's
Right.
why I got my own DNA lab where I'm making new sheep and cloning people because am in God's image,
Yeah.
a creator.
I believe that's real. You're a creator.
Me too.
I'm a creator. This podcast is our creation, Greg.
Yes.
I mean, you and Tita had a baby, and I'm not trying to dwarf that, and I'm not trying to make comparisons, but this is our baby. We're creating this right now, Greg.
Macaroni Rascals is my second born son. My third born son.
We got each other pregnant on this one because that's equal.
Laughter in life.
Yeah.
Laughter. Can I tell you this? This is something I've been kicking around for a while. Sorry if I've said it in the podcast before, but I think you might like this. This is my mental thing what I try to come back to. And I'm sorry if I've said this before, but I want you
to compare this to a creator, like as a mental idea. It's a fetus and it's kicking around proverbially.
Yeah. And I'm about to abort it out my mouth, and we're going to try to see if we can live on its life on its own.
Didn't expect that ending, Greg, but that's why I like to hang in the pocket and hear the things that are coming out of your mouth, because I did not expect that ending.
Aborted out my mouth is another shirt.
Aborted out your mouth?
That's another shirt we should have. Aborted out my mouth. That's going to get a lot of people asking questions.
That's probably
what are you
not
for
going to
or
do well
against?
with our Christian base.
Yeah, but we're not talking about babies. We're talking about bad thoughts.
Yeah,
Abort the
that's
bad
true.
thoughts.
Right.
Now, let me bring it back to the creator thing for a moment, because this is something I've been kicking around. I want you to put this in your pot. I want to see what seasoning you put on there. I believe that we are creators. Every human is a creator, but what we can create is vibes, I guess, right? So if I create happiness, you can always be creating energy. Good energy. So if I walk and I make good energy, you put that in the world. You're actually a factory making good energy. But if you're a factory that's constantly making bad energy, you're literally putting that out into the world. So make sure your factory, which is you, is constantly making good energy, because then that brings the world up. You don't have to be Sebastian Maniscalco or Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos to create a big ice cream truck or whatever it is that he made. You know what I mean? Right. You are just creating, because if I smile and then make you feel good, that's addictive. Now that's on you.
Yes.
That's on you. And then you make it, and then you pass it. And now, so my happiness has went from person to person to person. That is you. That is your product. And it has been transferred. Real transference. So it's like, get out there. Start transferring good juju to people, because we are all creating.
That's
in the smallest way possible.
That's really a good, because it's an energy exchange. An energy exchange is real.
Exchange.
Like even a joke. That's basically what we're doing. You make a joke, someone laughs. In that moment of laughter, they're in pure bliss. Mm-hmm. So you're actually exchanging that. You're passing on that good energy. That's what we do, actually. I mean, that's the whole goal of it, is to like a good energy exchange. You know what I mean? Make somebody else feel good. And then in turn, even if you're like in passing, you make a joke that makes somebody laugh, then they feel good, like you said, and they're carrying on the rest of the day. The problem is what most people I find this too in my life. If you're not feeling good, how do you get to a place where you are feeling good? Because you can't manufacture that energy if you're feeling good. You know, people who are always doing mean things or saying mean things or making other people feel bad, you know, you look at them and it makes you feel bad. But after you look a little deeper and you're like, oh, that person must be in pain. That person must be really hurting. So it's like, okay. And we all are in that place sometimes. So if you're really hurting or you're really suffering, it's like, how do you bring yourself out of it so that you don't pass that on to other people? Also, you don't want to be in suffering. You don't want to live in suffering.
So can I get in there?
It's to be all the time. You know what I mean?
So I think there's two ways to look at this. And it goes back to the factory thing. I think there's some people who, look, I'm sad sometimes, and I'm not saying close the factory down. Sometimes you need to talk to your friends and get it out. But there are some people that the machines in their factory is constantly producing negativity, right? And if you're one of those people and you don't like it, you need to get into your machines and say, look, I have the negativity machine, but I've produced enough of that. Let's start working on the other one. You just turn that machine off. When you're instead of sitting there and going, I hate, who cares if you believe it or not? Go, I love. This is what I do with movies all the time. Everyone thinks they're cool when they watch a movie and they go, it sucked. Sure, it's easy to think something sucks, but can you find the good in the movie? Find the good in the movie. Find the good in the people. Find the good in anything. I have one other thing. I'm so sorry to go twice here. But But the other part to that, and you can comment on all of this, is I think I just forgot it. Is trackable is a joke, right? Because you said joke. I thought this was good. If you do a good joke and you give it to someone, they literally will tell other people that joke. And that joke is going from person to person, literally dropping good laughter on people. Like you can track that. But normal humans, you don't have to have the joke to track it. If you're just being happy and doing that, that's also transferring. But the joke, I think, is fun because you can literally trace it to see where it goes and how much good it brought out to people. That was it. Those were two pieces I had. On that.
I want to go back to the movie comment. What I do with movies is that's a good analogy, but sometimes with movies, I'll not like the movie. I'll go, okay, this did not resonate with me. And instead of just being like, because people do that sometimes and they go, oh, this movie sucked. And these people who made the movie are bad and I'm better than them. And if I had the power to make my movie would be better than that. Like we all get to that place sometimes where it's like, you're shaming the people who actually you're being a critic. They put out the art and you didn't. But it's all right to be critical and be like, okay, that movie didn't work for me. That movie didn't track. I recently saw a movie that was like that everybody was saying was good. And I didn't think it was good. And I go, okay, I'm just not like loading up to be like, oh, I don't think it was good. And all you people are dumb. It wasn't like that. It was like the movie didn't resonate with me. Why didn't it resonate? And why did it resonate with all these people and it didn't resonate with me? Like, I think that's a bigger question, like to be curious as to like, oh, what about this rang? It didn't track. It didn't track. But it tracked for everybody else. Like, why? So I went online and was like trying to find movie reviews and finding people who were critical. I couldn't find anybody who was really critical of it. Everybody was like, praising it. I'm like, okay, maybe something's wrong with me. I mean, you should never rule that out.
Nothing is wrong.
Oh, maybe something is wrong with me. Maybe I'm seeing this the wrong way and everybody else is seeing it right. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to question yourself sometimes. But I think that to a larger point, somebody who's constantly putting out, is talking down to people and is making other people miserable. I think a lot of times those people are miserable, but they go, oh, I'm miserable because of outside external things are making me miserable. If these external things changed, I would be happy and I wouldn't be this angry. But because of these external things, I am angry. And maybe they do have a lot of external things making them angry, but it's the wrong way to look at it in the sense that, okay, all these external things are happening, but I have to control my internal interpretation of it because I can't walk around this way. You know, I can't walk around in this kind of suffering because I'm just first of all, I'm suffering, which is not a good way to live. And as a result of it, I'm putting it out. I'm making other people mad and sad and miserable. So I have to figure out, can I change my external circumstances? If I can't, maybe I can change the internal interpretation of these circumstances as to either not be affected of it or transmute it into something positive so that I just want to feel good. I want to walk around feeling good. And then the rest of it will take care of itself. You know, you will pass that on to other people. But for people, and we know people like this who are like constantly in a negative place and they're passing on this negativity, they're doing it because they're in a state of suffering and they haven't figured out the real reason why they're suffering and how to flip that.
I want to add to that. I do think that also a lot of these people, because they run that machine in their factory of negativity, when you run it too much, you get so comfortable with running it, you forget how to run the other machine, the non-negative machine, right? And so what they don't realize, so it's like you get so comfortable in being like, I hate it, that it's easier to go there, and it gives you
you're right.
So you got to go to this other place and go, hey, go to the positive machine and start running that, start getting used to that, rewire your brain so you're learning more things in the factory, because you have to be running the negative machine every now and again. We all do, you know what I mean?
If you get caught in it, but it's like, it's your choice to stay there or not. And I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of it staying longer than I should be staying. I'll get something on my brain and I'll be like, okay, what am I doing? Like, yes, this happened to you. Yes, this was not fair, but you're staying there. Like I say it to myself, you're staying there on purpose.
Staying there.
You're staying there, and you shouldn't be staying there. You know, feel it and let it go. Get out of there and get on to something else. And the way that's why affirmations for me works is because no matter how you're going to feel certain things every day. Sometimes you're going to wake up feeling good. Sometimes you're not. And it's like, but if you do the affirmations, no matter how you feel, you just hit the alarm clock and go, this is what I do every day. But whether you feel like it or not, it sets the tone. It sets the tone for the rest of the day.
Hate to throw another idea. We need an affirmation t-shirt. We need a t-shirt that says
t-shirts.
Championship, banana hammock, good times, championship, abundance. Right. Abundance is my favorite. Oh, and infinite knowledge is a new one.
Infinite intelligence, Greg. It's not infinite knowledge. It's infinite intelligence, dog. Oh,
that's a different thing. That's the horse in a different color.
Gotta live your best life.
Right. But
no, the main thing is just I want to feel good every day. I want to feel bliss every day.
Right. Do the things that make you blissful.
Well, put yourself in a mental place where you are blissful. And then with workouts and stuff and cold showers and stuff, you're putting yourself in a state of trauma. It's like, that's good. It's like, how do you deal with that? Putting yourself in trauma. Because you need that trauma in order to come out better.
Every time I get out of the shower, I go, oh, it's freezing. You don't. When you're getting out of the shower, it's literally like life's pain is now comforting to you.
It's a relief to get out of the shower. The shower is, you know what? Because if I take a shower at the gym. So what I'll do is I'll take a steam and then I'll go take a freezing shower. And then the water hits you and it like stuns you. So my reaction to the stunness of the cold shower is deep breathing. That's what I'm taught. You're taught to breathe through it, breathe through the suffering. So it's like the water hits you and you start breathing deep. But from the outside, if somebody's taking a shower next to me or walking by, it sounds like I'm having a baby. Because I'm just breathing. I'm breathing so purposefully deep in and out. It's like, is this guy giving birth in the shower? And I don't care, Greg. I don't care.
See, that's why I like making fun of you for being short, because it's something you chose. I believe you could will yourself to be 7 foot tall. I believe it, but I think you choose to be 5'3" or whatever you are. 5'2".
And I'm not laughing at the people who are 5'3".
Yeah. Let me tell you this. Anyone under 5'11" to me is 5'2", and you get it. I got a friend who's 5'10", and I go, get out of here, shrimp cocktail. And they're like, I'm 5'10". And I'm like, well, get to 5'11", and then we'll talk.
Shots fired, Greg.
Shots fired. I did want to continue on this. There was something I did want to say about that.
I don't want to drown our fans with mindset because they're here for the macaroni, really. But
knows why
this stuff really I really work hard on the practice of it, because and not for any other reason, like just mostly just because I want to feel good. And as you get older, it gets tougher. You know what I mean? It gets tougher.
Do you feel good?
I feel good, but it's like there's different circumstances. Like I flew yesterday. I had to wake up early for a flight. It was freezing. It's like all that stuff. Like I get to my mother's, I'm tired, like lack of sleep, lack of eating the right way. All this stuff matters now. Like as a kid, I don't know how much it probably mattered if I would have done it the right way, but it didn't matter as much. You could recover much faster. But now like sleep is a huge, and I don't have to tell you, but sleep is a huge thing. Like in terms of feeling good and getting a workout in. If I work out, my sleep is better. If I work out and my sleep is better, I'll eat better. If everything builds on everything else. You know what I mean? And as a result, I feel good today because I slept. I went to bed like at 11. I slept like 12 hours last night, but I really needed it.
I want to bring up something about consciousness that we were talking about before with having the kid. I want to throw this at you, and you tell me. Maybe this is a basic thought. But with Calvin now, right before I had the baby, there was this big fear of death for me. Right? I just kept worrying about like, what is my legacy? Am I going to die? Nothing I've done is worth anything. But now that I had this kid, I go, that's literally a part of me, like a fingernail that grew into a human. But the only thing that's different is that he doesn't have my consciousness, right? My consciousness that is now isn't him. Like I don't walk up and think I'm him. He's a separate entity.
Right.
But he is part of me that continues to live.
Yeah.
Then that brings it back to this, right? So I think about this all the time is we exist. This is going to be a little, I don't know if I can explain this, a little deep, not deep, but like it might be a little hard to explain. We live in this path of like every moment you believe you are the same person as the moment before, right? So let me explain it this way. If I died and then someone reanimated me 100 years later, well, the big question is, well, what happened to old Greg, right? Is old Greg now existing and now new Greg just has his memories and continues moving forward? And then, is that the same person? Is it not? So we have this idea that like the continued consciousness is what you are, right? So where I want to go is a step forward and go, well, how do we know how do you know you're not dying every single second? Well, before we even get to every second, say, when you go to bed at night, how do you know you don't die when you sleep and then you wake up a new person just with those new memories, right? And then I push it a step forward and go, how do you know that every single second of your life isn't a new, absolutely brand new person that just has the memories of the person before them? Does this make sense, what I'm saying?
It does make sense. I would say that you're not like a new person, but you're not the same person. You're not. Like, I don't know, maybe Mike can do a quick Google search, but your cells, like every 7 years or something, your cells die. You're constantly rejuvenating cells. So I think 7 years, after 7 years, all of your old cells have died off and you actually are a completely new person. So we're constantly incrementally evolving into a new person. So it's like what's happening, but it's happening slowly in terms of evolution.
I'm with that, but I want to take that a step forward to say that how do we even know that the continued consciousness of what we are is one? It is one. Like how do you not know that how do we know that like every moment is just a baton being passed to the next memories? It's just the memories that are connected. And then when you die, the memories stop. I think we're going to get to a point where you could reanimate everyone and bring people back and have them whatever. And so to make that a step forward is to go, Calvin is me. He just doesn't have the memories, right? So we were talking on the last podcast about,
well, he's you and Tita. That's why he's not you. He's you and Tita. You're not you and Tita. You're you and your parents.
But all I am
you and Tita, so he's different than you genetically.
The subconscious and the consciousness, right? So like he has my DNA in him that will continue, and Tita's as well.
And Tita's. So he's not you. He's not totally you. He's you and Tita. You're not you and Tita.
He's me plus Tita minus the memories, so that the working mind of me right now.
Right.
So but he will continue on, and I'm Alexander Hamilton. I don't know who I'm related to. I actually am related to Bill Burr. Not Bill Burr. Aaron Burr. It's like in my timeline. I don't know if I ever told you that. I don't remember if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but
no, he shot Hamilton.
Yeah, well, Hamilton deserved it. He was
my point is there's no musical about Burr.
Yeah, well, it's the winner tells the story.
Right. No, he shot Hamilton, so he actually
and George Washington. I have George Washington's blood in me. Did I tell you that? That's not even a joke. I lie a lot. Serious donkey, not lying. I am a descendant, I believe, of Martha Washington.
You're a descendant of the Washingtons.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't very macaroni. It's my grandfather.
I thought this was a advertisement for our $1 Patreon subscribers.
Hey, Mike, he's got something to say.
I had an answer to your question.
Yeah.
What is this?
Was that right, Mike?
Well, the cells in every human body are constantly in a state of flux. The age of the cells vary, and most of the body completely changes over the course of 10 to 15 years, although much of the brain remains almost as it was during inception.
Right.
Okay, so you're right about the brain thing. The brain, it remains the same, but your body's cells, I was wrong with 7 years, 10 to 15 years, your body, your cells are not the same.
Well, I'm not even talking about the physicalness. I'm talking about the idea of keeping consciousness going, of whatever that thing that keeps your memories alive. Like, why do we judge it by I gotta abandon this.
What I think you should do really is to influence, and this is unrelated, but it made me think of it. And I'm serious about this. For Calvin's subconscious mind, you should have positive affirmations that you put on his bed, and you should play them for him while he's sleeping.
I don't do it when he's sleeping. That's actually a good idea. I have been doing it
for him, like the you talking to him, but like saying loving, positive, esteem building things to him, and just tape it and then activate it while he's sleeping and just keep it on a loop. I'm serious. I think that would influence his subconscious mind to the point where it's like he's very moldable right now. This is where your subconscious develops, and then the program
doing it.
What's that?
As you told me to do it. You told me to do. I haven't been doing it when he sleeps, but I do stare at him and go, "You're a champion.
Yes.
Positive energy. You're smart and you are loved and abundant, and you are everything that you will ever want to be, and you are happy and empathetic." I say that to him all the time. Right. He looks at me and goes, "I don't know words yet," and then he shits, and I go, "Exactly, pal." But I do it because you told me. Let me tell Tita. Let me see how this runs by her.
No, I mean,
you won't be able to hear or see her.
I mean,
hold on. Let me see. Hey, Tita. Mike says that, will you be okay if I record myself saying positive affirmations? You're a champion. You're beautiful. You're handsome. And then we play them on loop for Calvin as he sleeps? She said sure. So that's in. That's 2 votes. We're doing it.
2 votes.
We do it tonight. And there's only a 2-vote party.
Well, after you do this, I'm pretty confident that Calvin will be the next president. He will be president, not the next president. He'll be the president in the future. He will be president. He will be something huge. I don't know if he will be a Bitcoin CEO, or if there won't be Bitcoin back then, it'll be like something liquid, water, or whatever it is in the future. He's going to be a big deal. I'll be an old man, and I want him to remember that I said this, because he's going to be a big deal.
Well, can I tell you a little epiphany I had? Because you say president, right? I went, oh, and I realized, like, I don't want him to be the president. All of those people at the top, they're mostly all evil and shitty. Yes. And and I went, I don't want that for him. So all I really want him to be is happy. And which is like, it's like a lame thing to say, but it's like, yeah, I mean, that's not, it's like once you take all that off of the table, there's no more of this, like, get him in the best kindergarten and the best high school so he could do the best things. It's like, yeah, I don't need him to do those things. I want the best for him spiritually and emotionally, but he doesn't need to go to Stanford or any of those, because like I don't need him to be. All the people 60%, you could get your own percent. 60 to 70% of the people I've met in comedy that are on the top are kind of miserable and and I'm like, and I don't want that for this child, because those people have pushed so hard through their psychosis to get there. I want him to be a medium comedian who's happy like myself.
Well, I mean, first of all, Greg, Stanford is a city in Connecticut. Stanford, I think, is the school that you were.
I had no idea. As a joke.
Well, I mean, I think it's proves not only did you not get into the school, you didn't pronounce. Part of getting into the school is pronouncing it correctly.
I always thought they were the same. I thought Stanford was in Stanford. I didn't know it was Stanford. I did not know. I say dumb things on purpose to be funny. Currently, right now, I always thought that, is it Stanford or Stanford?
It's Stanford is the school, Stanford is the town.
I thought the town was the college, and that's what the college was. No wonder they never let me in.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what. I have
putting applications in the McDonald's. What?
Every time I do the Stress Factory in New Jersey, we drive past Princeton, and when the exit comes, I get a little nervous. And the joke is, we're supposed to get off at this exit, but I don't think I have the GPA for this. I'm going to have to go a little further and get off at maybe a community college exit and then circle back.
Yeah, you got to do some time at 2 years in Egg Harbor. So you
2 years in Egg Harbor, dog. But no, it's interesting, man. It's interesting. But I think in addition to being happy, you want him to be self-actualized. You want him to reach his potential, and his potential's unlimited. And also, he reaches an unlimited potential. Guess what? He's in a position of power to affect other people positively, whether he's the CEO of a company or he has other people working for him and with him who are also, he's affecting them. He's making their lives better.
Right. A cause for love.
That's why success is important. It's like you have somebody who's a gem like that, like your son is. You want him to self-actualize so that you want people like that in a position of power so that they can positively affect other people. You don't want them hidden. You don't want them just happy in their own. I mean, it's good to be happy in your own right, but you want them in a position where they're affecting others.
But Mike, that's what scares me about the world. If I'm being completely honest with you, it feels though as in this world, all of the people who really make it to the top is because there's some kind of mental illness there, some kind of thing that drives them harder and stronger and crazier. And because of that, they don't have the love in them. People who find happiness don't need super happy, really, they don't need to work as hard. So then the people in power don't have that. And that's why we were all fucked, because the people to be president is such a hard thing that you can't a lot of times have 90% of a loving person win. You know what I mean? You can't be super famous in comedy without that insane psychosis that drives you. Well, I think you're the only person I've ever met who has insane psychosis and a giant heart at the same time. I don't know how you have room enough in that closet. Cold storage, I guess.
Closet's right behind me.
But what do you I don't know. What do you
think? No, I think that that is true a lot of times, but it's like they're putting something out in the universe where something happened to them, childhood. Like, I don't know what people's childhood backgrounds are, but it's driving them. They have that insane drive because of something that happened unhealthy in their childhood. But those people, as they're the top of the game, like you said, they get there and they're not happy anyway. Right. They're still in that mental play, the thing that drove them, and they think they're going to get to this place where they're going to find this eternal happiness, and they don't find it. But I think it depends, and a lot of people are driven that way through dysfunction. But I think it depends what's driving you. If it's a healthy drive and something healthy is driving you, when you do succeed on that level, you'll be healthy.
Right.
You'll be, you won't have this insane dysfunction that, you know what I mean? Like, it depends what the internal drive is fueled by, I would say.
Let me ask you, who do you think, in your opinion, is the most successful, loving, caring person that you've ever met? Do you think you've ever been like, wow, not only are you successful, but you're also you?
Well, I think that I was on the road with Nate, opening for Nate, and Nate and I have been friends for a long time, you know what I mean? But he has unbelievable success, Grammy nominated, like that's just one of the things, but unbelievable success. But just being with him and hanging out with him, and he has that where it's like his family is very important to him. He has a good mental outlook. He and it's something else, like on the road with him, like when, opening for him, and then when he goes out, like his fans, like it's an explosion when he's announced. It's an explosion of love and appreciation for him. And I've witnessed it. It's really overwhelming, kind of like, and he's so gracious. He understands that none of this is promised or given. So he feels that overwhelming love from the fans, and he's in a good place gratitude wise. So that's an example of a guy who's reached he's reached the top, and he's still climbing and still building. And obviously he's my friend for years, but
years past.
I observe the way he's handling it and the way that he sits in it. And it comes from a good place. It comes from a really good place. So I wouldn't say and I agree with you that a lot of people at the top are driven by this dysfunction. Mm-hmm. And then when they get to this pinnacle where they're in the public eye, they're still in that place of dysfunction. But for him, he's a guy who always had gratitude and appreciation, and it comes through in his comedy. But right. But I can see it. I can see the way that he responds to it, and the way he makes these people feel, and not just on stage, but also off stage. His level of appreciation is very high.
Wow.
What about you? Have you seen it from people?
I will say this. This is a little bit. I've got a lot of friends who've been famous, and I feel like they've been soured and they're just really shitty. And most of the people I've met who I was big fans of. See, Nate's a little different because you knew him before,
right?
I guess I'm referring to more people in what I'm talking about is people who were famous before I've met them, and it's still gratitude. I've met so many that have let me down that it's now sad because every time I see Colin Quinn, I'm afraid to talk to him because I don't want him to get ruined for me. So I literally have 15 times met Colin and he goes, "Hey, Greg, how you doing?" And I go, "I gotta go." And I just run away because I refuse to talk to this man because I want to keep him on that pedestal. And everyone tells me he's the nicest guy in the world. Yeah, he's been nothing but nice to me, but I refuse to speak to him for more than 3 seconds, as I would like to just keep him there. I don't want him ruined, as many other comedians have been ruined for me. Literally, I saw him a few weeks ago and I went, "Hey," he goes, "How come I've been working at the cellar with you? You've been here, 5 years, 6 years? Never see you." And I go, "Because I refuse to talk to you and have you ruined. I'd like to keep you on the pedestal if I could just keep doing that. Run from him like he's got COVID every time." But everyone always says he's the nicest guy.
He's a great one. He's a great one. And he's a great one to talk to. Like, you won't be disappointed in him, man. He's another guy who's like, I think in it for the, like, I don't think he's in it for the right reasons, man. He's a true blue comic. You can give him pinnacle of success, put that guy in a gutter. He's the same guy, man. Right. You know what I mean? It's like, he's a comics comic. And, everybody loves him, but like, we especially love him because we can appreciate that. Yeah. Another guy like that, Attell is like that. You put him on a mountaintop, put him in, like, he's like the same guy. He's a comics comic. Louis, Chappelle, these guys, like, they could be doing theaters. They could be doing a room with. But you think those? That's how these guys are. They're comics, and that's why it's very touching to us because we understand
those guys, because those guys more. But you say those guys are like, they're down to earth good guys.
Yeah, I mean, a lot comes with. I'm sure a lot comes. It also depends, and this is what I learned too. Is like, it depends. If you don't know somebody and they're famous and you come up to them, I'm a comic. It's like they have 1,000 people coming up to them. They have like hundreds of people coming up to them, angling different ways. Not everybody's coming them with this altruistic, whatever. People are angling to get to them. So they have to be on, like, a lot of times people in that position have to be on guard because people are angling towards them. And these people have their own intentions. Right. They want to get something from them. So if you're coming out of the blue, like one of those people, and then the person is not nice to you or whatever, it's like, I kind of get that they have to be on guard.
Sure.
They have to be on guard for people angling towards them.
I'm angling to get a lunch with them and to be their best friend. I just want every single person to be my best friend. But do you understand? Like, that's understandable. It's like, you got people coming from all out of the woodwork, like, and it's like they're trying to build a relationship with you. They're trying to get in order to, like, get you to do something for them. It's like, that's it is. But I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, like, because like, I'm not on their level, but I'm at a level where.
That's me. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I thought it was
my sister.
Oh, I'm at a totally different level, but we are at the same level. We have fans, and I have a lot of people who come up to me and they try to, like, especially new comedians. Like, I got a guy now. After every time I post a story, he responds with some kind of, like, "Another great one, dog." And I'm like, this is so transparent. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt at first. I was like, I'll be this guy's friend and whatever. But now it's clearly like he sees I'm helping another comedian, and he wants me to. I could see it's like, oh, you're friends with that person, so you want me to. You think that I'm whatever. But I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, whereas a lot of times, a lot of those guys won't. I'm at the cellar a lot of times, and a famous person will literally be in the same room, and I'm like, "Hey," and they're like, and I'm like, "So we're just going to sit here and not talk." Like, I'm not going to go in your wallet, man. We can just be cool. Whereas Colin is never that way. Colin is never that way.
But Colin also knows that you've been at the cellar and that you're a serious guy. Like, I mean, I'm sure Colin's nice to everybody. He's a great human being, and I'm sure he doesn't go out of his way. But, like, he knows that you're serious about comedy and that you're in it and you're not for lack of a better term, he's sacrificing a lot for this. So I'm sure, even though he doesn't know you like in depth, he knows that about you. And there's a little bit of admiration there from him that knows you're in the game the way that he's in the game, which is all in. So he's going to open up a little bit more to you and have a conversation with you versus if you just came off the street, hey, I'm a comic. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Right. I don't know how much you've sacrificed. I don't know what you put into this. You could just say that you're a comic and then come up to me and like be like networking. It's like, I'm not interested in that, any of that, like talking to any, like you didn't put anything in. You didn't do anything. You didn't work at all. And you're trying to like just take shortcuts or whatever, or network. It's like,
right.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hear that, dude. I'm not like, so I get it. I do get it. You know?
I wish we could have stripes on our jacket. There's like sold like, hey, look, 50 open mics. I did 2 years at LOL Comedy Club. Woman threw a bottle at me. You know, so someone said, I could see your ranking there. You just
I think that you're onto something, Greg. As usual, you're onto something.
As usual.
But let me. I think the karate did it best with a belt system.
The belt system is great.
You walk around with a yellow belt. It's like, okay, you've done some open mics and you've done some one-nighters. You're featuring on these one-nighters. Okay, you're a light blue belt. Oh, now you're a brown belt. You're a third-degree black belt. You're headlining.
I'm a third-degree feature. Okay, I can work. I got to work blue, and no one's going to come to see me. But then we have
third-degree feature is great. I think that's another T-shirt, Craig.
Third-degree feature.
Third-degree feature.
I wanted to do a podcast. I wanted to do a documentary. I probably shouldn't give all my ideas out here, but I wanted to do a documentary called The Medium Comedian, which is just about guys who are really good and are not famous and are happy. You know what I mean? It's mostly gonna be about me, and then I'll have you in it a little bit, just to tell me. I'm gonna have you in it where you just go, Greg's one of the funniest people I've ever said. I'll say, Mike, say these words. I'll give you a script of things to say about me that are compliments, and then we'll cut you before you say I don't agree with that. Why I shouldn't have said that because I don't want people to take my idea, but I want to do that idea. But I think I think there's a lot to learn about comedians or people in general who, like, when I got into comedy, it was like, I want to be Dane Cook or Gallagher or Russell Brand. But no one ever says they want to be. But where I've come in comedy so far is I am pretty happy, but it's like no one thinks about the guys who have careers, do really well, but are not famous. A lot of people would think of those are just like these, like, are we, like, am I like a bench player in the NBA? Like, it's like, but those guys also have really great lives. You know what I mean? So I think there is something to illuminate the happiness you can have within this industry, not being a megastar or not being a household name or not being like a huge draw. You know? Well,
I think, like I said about the Calvin Uch being a CEO or whatever, it's like, if you're good, and we are good, it's like you want to be on a huge platform because you want to reach the most people. So I don't think we should ever stop doing that. Am I happy? I'm happy with my life, though. I'm happy with my life and how things are going. But I'm never going to stop shooting to be on a bigger platform because I think if you're in a club and you're killing your night after night like we do in these rooms, you're like, okay, if I just got on a huger platform, like on a Netflix or something, like I would do the same thing I'm doing in this room, but I would be doing it in the country.
Right. But that's to exactly what you're saying. I'd like to, like, if Buzz Aldrin was like, if I could just go to the moon, I'll be happy. Right. That's not why he went to the moon. You know, I want to get on a larger platform and be famous for other, just because I have art that I want to share. I want to share my art, but not to be happy. Right. But I think that a lot of people think that getting to the moon.
There's a sense of satisfaction. Is you put out a special, you put out a sketch, and that instead of like 100 people, it's like 10 million people watched it and enjoyed it. There's some satisfaction in there that it got to that many people. Now, there's also the innate satisfaction of the actual sketch or stand-up special being funny. There's pride in that, and there's a certain satisfaction in that. But there's also a satisfaction in the fact that it reached 10 million people. Right. And I know it's good because I built it from the ground up. I'm not a fly-by-night guy. I didn't start comedy 2 years ago. Like, I'm in it, and watching this whole thing come to fruition like this is beautiful. Now, do you hang your hat on that? You have to be. You can't attach yourself to it, because if it gets taken away, it's like, okay, well, that was a fun ride. Now I have to figure out what the next thing is. You know what I mean? But yeah, you shouldn't attach your happiness to it, I would say.
Right, and not bring it back to the other thing, but like, and not to sound arrogant, whatever. But it is nice if you write a joke that makes someone laugh, and 10 million people go, "Oh, I was able to spread a little bit of my factory of happiness to 10 million people, even for a second." Because even if you take all of that away, if you take all of this, is where I come up with this, is because, man, with the baby, it's been hard. I've been really stressed. I put on 30 Rock, and man, it just made me laugh. I'm watching the show. It's a great show. Yeah. And it really helped me when I was just not able to create my own happiness. And then I started to think about, like, man, 30 Rock was real. One of the reasons I think 30 Rock was great was UCB used to be a great place in New York. It was a great place to find improvisers and comedy and a lot of this. And a lot of those guys ended up on that show, and they added a lot to that show. And now UCB is gone. And there was always this beef about comedians and improvisers and stand-ups, which I was always like, well, now that improv is almost dead in New York, there's a void, and it sucks. And I'm like, you need that. We need those things and that happiness and all of that. And getting back to the point of, like, with comedy, it's like, if you can just kind of not help, but like add this to the world, it can but make people. I'm not trying to say we're heroes. I'm really trying to stay away from that bullshit. But I do think there is something to, like, I so often take away from us and go, stop it. The doctors, the nurses, those are the people. But then watching 30 Rock, I went, oh no, it is a thing for artists.
That's a skill set.
Shit out.
That's a skill set. And 30 Rock is an example of a piece of work where it's like, oh, Tina Fey and whoever else that wrote that show. Like, I mean, not just the acting is unbelievable, and all the actors are like fantastic in that show. But I look at that writing, I look at Tina Fey, and I'm like, this is so sharp. This is so sharp. It's like, you can see the skill level. And it's like that with carpenters. It's like that with people who are marble guys, who are like, who build stuff. It's like, you look at it, it's like, that's amazing. It's like, it's just another version of that, where it's like, oh my God, she created something that is just unbelievable. And the level, I marvel at the skill level of it. It's like when somebody has a perfect bit and they get into, like, Burr has a lot of this, Nate has a lot of it, where it's like they'll get into the bit and they'll just work it. And it starts off
like you and I hop chunk.
Yeah. Like, it's like you work it. And at the end, it punches, and you're like, at the end of it, you're like, that might've been the perfect bit. That might've been perfect. I mean, you're laughing at it, but at the end of it, you step back and you go, you marvel at, you watch it again for the craftsmanship. Right. I mean, us as comics, like, the general public is just enjoying it. They're like, they're amazing. They're really funny. It's like us, we step back and go, look at the craftsmanship of this. It's unbelievable. Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree. And I mean, I also think that the general public, because I was the general public for a long time, I would watch great stand-up, Louis and Carlin, and go like, oh, see, to me, I think there's so many comedians that are just, they're workable. They'll make you laugh, and they're good. Right. But then it's that next level guys who just go like, oh, you're in the space, you're doing more. And I think that there's not a lot of people who understand those, like, the comics. When I watch Attell, let me tell you, I'll be honest, I was never an Attell guy. I always went, this guy's great. He's funny. This is a guy. He's great. Right. But then being at the Cellar and watching him every night, I just go, you got me, buddy. I'm done. You are not my style. You are a fucking, this is not my style. Right. This is unbelievable. Yeah. Like, I'm watching a thing that is not even, it's like I hate mushrooms, but then someone cooks mushrooms so good that I go, fuck, I hate mushrooms, and this is great. You know what I mean? And I mean, you get what I'm saying there. I'm not saying,
I understand.
Attell is the best, but he was never my style.
Yeah. When somebody goes outside of your style and you're like, this got me. This is unbelievable.
Right.
Like Sebastian, I saw Sebastian on like Conan or something. I watched it. I'm like, I'm not sure what this is. And then I saw him like a longer set. I was like, oh, I think I get what. Then I saw him live, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is great. This is great.
Right.
And what he did as he sits in that character, and it's easier now, but I think because he's famous, he has huge fans, like legions of fans. But it's like to develop that character when you're an unknown is tough. It's tough because
this idea is in. So sorry, I have to interrupt you. We need our fans to be, because we're Italian, the Legion of Franks. Just a bunch of Franks who love us. There's a bunch of Gavo. Hey, there's a Legion of Franks. Hey, Frankie Rossamano. That's Frankie Danuli. And there's sorry, I interrupted you with that.
You know what, Greg? Piggyback on that. I was gonna say piggyback on that idea. Legion of Franks, and then we have an annual hot dog eating contest.
That's perfect. Legion of Franks, and we just eat 1,000 hot dogs.
Yeah, and then we call it Frank Fest.
Man, I wish our name was Frank. We'd be famous if we were two Franks.
Two Franks. We should maybe legally change our names. How bad do we want it?
I know. The craftsmanship.
Have you ever? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say
directions, but go ahead if you want to put the cap on this.
No, real quick. I just want to say Jeselnik was a guy who I don't like that style,
right.
But wow, that's good. He'll get me with a lot of that because I'm a guy comedy wise. I like stories and I like deprecating and like self-revealing. I like vulnerability. Right. Attell's not that guy, right. But he's fucking great. You also don't want all of comedy to be the things you like, or it's all the fucking same. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Eric Bergstrom, who's like a younger guy in the business, whatever. He's like a one-liner guy who I'm like, you are not my style, but I fucking love watching you.
Right.
And that's it, really. Those are the three, all white guys. It's not that I don't like minorities. It's just that when they go on, I go, I don't like what you are. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Here we are again. Legion of Franks.
We just got canceled, Greg. So
I don't care anymore. Not that I don't care. Sorry to get on this weird thought, but I thought this the other day. It's like we live in a society now where it's, and I'm not one of these free speech guys, but I am scared to say things. And I don't want to be scared to say things anymore. So I'm just going to say whatever I want. And then when people try to cancel me, I have to be ready to explain that I'm just joking and look at the body of work that is my life. And am I a good person or am I not? Because I know I've said this a million times, but edgy jokes about violence and bad things, that's what allows me to kind of deal with those things. And it might not be for you, but it helps me and it helps other people. So when I do a joke about beating up my wife, that's how it gets me to handle what that is in the real world. So I
thought you were going to say that's what gets you hard.
Let me say this. That was a Mike Vecchione bit of the day.
Left turn. That was a left turn.
That's a cool left turn.
Fans didn't see it coming. The domestic abuse survivors did not see that coming. I mean, Everybody was in shock on that one. But no, I say that to those people. People have to understand that it's a joke, yeah.
And when they go, those domestic violence is never funny, I go, you're right. Domestic violence isn't, but jokes about it from someone who's not doing it is. And if you don't find it funny, you are correct.
Yes.
You are allowed.
Right.
It's just not for you.
Right.
Right. When you go on the menu and you see mushrooms, don't order the mushrooms.
Right.
If you're at a comedy club and someone brings out mushrooms, you go, this is not for me. I'm going to wait for the next guy, or I'm not going to come see this guy. It's not for you. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right. So
and I
don't know why
you're more of a stream of consciousness guy, and you don't want that controlled. You don't want your stream of consciousness because it's the enemy of creativity, which other comics have made that argument where it's like, and it's true. It's like when you're riffing, when you're rolling, it's like you can't have a censor, especially somebody like you who's a stream of consciousness guy. You come up with funny stuff off the cuff. And in order to do that, you have to have freedom. You can't.
I can't the filters.
You can't be internally censoring yourself when you're rolling.
That I haven't heard that argument, but it's 100% right. That's what scares me because the things are just getting thrown out there, and I need to go like, yeah, I know I can't pause that, or else it kills. It kills. It's like your
momentum. Yeah,
it's like cops, right? Cops should be able to shoot whoever they want because if they're not, the minute they take that pause.
Right.
That's when they get shot. So when cops are just like shooting innocent people, I go, you can't stifle their creativity or else they're going to end up dead. So let them just be quick draws out there.
Let them shoot whoever
you're going to get some kids. Right. You're going to get kids.
And they're going to get a lot of innocent. They're going to get a lot of innocent people. But you're cool with that, right, Greg?
I'm cool with that. As long as you could let me tell my rape jokes. I'm cool with cops shooting cashiers who had their hands up, but they had a banana in their hand. Well, now they're dead. It's okay. We want the cops to not stifle their creativity on murder.
I think well said. Now, Greg, let's get back to Legion of Franks. Have you ever been in a hot dog eating contest?
I'm in one every time I have a hot dog. It's a contest with no one, but I'm always trying to beat my own record. When I came home,
you against yourself
every time. JJ's Hot Dogs on Route 23 in Wayne, New Jersey. If you're there, because it used to be a truck in Newark. I go there. I go, give me 9 and don't look for anyone else because there's no one else here. 9 cheese bacon dogs.
I think it's great that every time you eat hot dogs, it's a hot dog eating contest. I mean, if that's not a championship mentality, I don't know what is. It's like you push yourself to the brink every time.
Real quick, how are we doing on time? Just so I know. There's no right way to ever know.
We're at about 50 minutes.
Oh, good. Okay,
oh,
so
cool.
10. Good. Because
I'm just 10 more.
My child, and he's turning blue, but I think that's okay. He's just a little sad. That's what that means. Child is turning. What?
That means he's thinking.
Right. That's a mic turn. That's a mic left. You're left-handed, left brain.
When he lights up blue, I've heard that.
Are you at the cellar tonight?
I'm in Florida.
That's right. I knew this. I'm literally looking at you in Florida.
I'm in Florida. I'm off that.
Clearly, but you do so many spots. You could be doing, hanging out with your mom in the morning, doing the cellar at 2 a.m. and then flying back to Florida. Mike mentality.
Cellar at 2, baby.
You have to not audition. Trademark Mike mentality. That's a Mike mentality.
Mike mentality?
Mike mentality. Cold showers.
Cold showers, deep breathing. It's a Wim Hof. Can't take Wim Hof's thing. I'm just following Wim Hof's method.
Yeah, but
deep breathing, cold showers, short haircuts.
No breaks.
No breaks. Yoga. Free writing.
Free writing.
That's it. Yeah. I'm gonna get this mastered, and then I'm gonna get my stride, and then I'm gonna do a course on it.
Lick everything.
I think that's the t-shirt. Lick everything.
Lick everything. No fuego.
Oh, you know what it is? It's a pro-vaccination shirt. Get vaccinated. Lick everything. Because people it's a positive message.
If you were I want to see someone just licking the side of just in a building, licking stuff, and they go, stop licking the walls. You go, what? I'm vaccinated. This isn't the Willy Wonka building. You can't just be licking wallpaper. What? I'm vaccinated.
That's funny. You keep your mask on, but when the mask is off, you're licking everything.
Lick everything.
It's look, if you want it one way, you're going to have it the other way. I will lick your building.
I got to say this. The best time to leave a loaded gun with a child is when they're an infant because it's too heavy for the baby to pick it up. So I'm going to start putting a loaded gun in the crib with the baby now so that, it's the only time I can leave it with him. Because once he's 1 or 2, 3, then he can start shooting it. Right? So I'm going to start now putting the gun with the baby just so that he can have that experience.
Yeah, and he's going to get more comfortable with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then if someone argues, be like, Second Amendment, dude. Second Amendment. This baby has the right to bear arms. This baby has the right to this gun for protections. Okay? So many people are out to hurt children now. I think a baby should have a loaded gun. Safety off.
Yeah. Name of the child? That's an Alec Baldwin child. I say, yeah.
I would go Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood never shot a man on set.
Yeah, but he's not. Clint Eastwood always had he was a gunslinger.
Do you ever think
Alec Baldwin is a more updated reference? But
let me tell you, if I'm Alec Baldwin, this is what I'm doing. Next movie I'm filming, caterer starts giving me lip. I go, I just lean in and I go, you think I won't fucking shoot you? Right? People go, oh, we thought it was an accident. You go, maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe someone got my order wrong. think about it. Lean into it
I
a
think
little
he
bit.
gets a bad rap, by the way. I mean, he came on. I didn't see the interview or whatever.
Right.
He got to apologize or whatever. And then people go, "Oh, it's a fake apology." It's like, what are you doing,
Fake?
dude? Like,
Fake
people are like
apology?
unnecessarily. I mean, the guy. I mean, has to just feel, regardless of how you feel about him. Like, I was always a fan, but it's like I'm still a fan. But it's like they're unnecessarily just brutal with him.
Could
It's
you
just like, come on, dude. Like, he already feels incredible pain. And the fact that you're piling onto it is like, just, I mean, you're not being a good person by doing that.
Could you imagine if you killed someone
Dude.
by accident?
I
Okay,
mean,
look, say whatever
it's
you want.
bad enough. You have to live with it now. And then you have people, you have the court, you have all these people. I mean, I guess you have to go to another level of strength as far as like being able to live and and being able to like, you know, you have to go to it'll force you into another level of strength because it's wrong. It's wrong what's happening where it's like, this guy was not this guy's intention. You can say whatever you want about him. You don't agree with him, whatever, whatever. But it's like, that was not his intention. So
to assume he's a murderer is insane.
No, it's nuts.
Insane.
And then that interview, which I didn't see, but it's like, that was all fake. It's like, come on, dude. Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, has the guy been through enough? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
Just
I would argue, though,
onto somebody? And I'm saying it to you, Greg, with that joke. It's like, you're just piling on to somebody.
Right. I'll say this, if he is such a good actor, though, if anyone could fake it, it could be him. I just don't think it did. That's Jack Donaghy mentality.
Such a great character.
Also, I get upset he's not Italian. He's Irish. Who is
He's
Baldwin?
Irish.
That's Italian? Irish, right?
He's Irish. Comes from a long line of Irish brothers. But he does, a lot of Irish are like that. They're like dark, like they look like us.
Yeah.
You know?
Did I ever tell you the time I met?
South of Ireland? I don't know. They look like us, though. Dark skin, dark. I mean, I don't have the darkest skin, but I have dark features.
Did I ever tell you the time I met Alec Baldwin?
No.
He came into the Apple store and he was like, I got to get a hard drive. And I'm showing him hard drives. And I go, this one's 350 gigs. This one's like 400. I go, I'll be honest. And there's this one. It's really expensive, though. And he looked at me and went, yeah, man, it's fine. I'll just take that one. And I was like, right. You're Alec Baldwin.
Right.
I don't need to just be like, yeah, this one's expensive. You were the shadow. And other things.
Yeah.
Also, worst case scenario, you can ask your brother for some money from when he was in Sliver. You know what I mean? Like, you got money coming in.
Yes. Greg,
But
you were looking out for his best financial interest there. That was a nice job. Actually, Soder worked with him on some project and said he couldn't have been nicer. He was very, very sweet guy, man. Very, very nice. I've heard that about him. I heard he's very, very nice guy, dude. And so I feel, you know, I mean, anybody could. It's almost like this thing where it's like we don't have empathy anymore. It's like, could you put yourself in that situation and how bad that you feel, and then everybody just coming at you on top of it? I mean, you already feel terrible, and then there's a life that's been lost, and like you have to live with that. Like, I mean,
It's so sad.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy that, you know, and there should be an investigation as to how that got on set. Like all that stuff should be happening, but without all of this, like piling onto him, I think.
Right.
So,
but I still think that I will say that, like, I don't think that he was paid to kill that woman, but I do think that the Challenger was a mob hit. You won't get me to backpedal on that.
the Challenger.
Yeah, we've
was a
talked
hit
about this before. Yeah, it definitely.
Well,
was.
I think
the
also
thing was, but right.
I watched that in middle school. I was
Really?
watching it in middle school. Yeah, middle school. It was on in my. I went to a middle school in Florida. I was in 6th grade, and they would wheel a TV into the room, and we would watch the Challenger. We would watch it. We would anytime if there was any kind of a space anything, we would watch it. Cape Canaveral in Florida, and then there was a Florida teacher that was on that flight.
The Challenger?
And watched it, yeah, the Challenger.
Oh, sorry.
And there was all kinds of afterwards. They didn't send us home though. They didn't send us home.
That's because school was school then.
In the 80s,
kids
that's
were not
the way it
cowards. No one was soft back then. Challenger blows up, you're still going to social studies. No,
Right.
the towers are down. You got to go home. Not in the 80s. If that happened in the 80s, you had to stay after, do recall.
Hey, can I tell you something?
What?
in the Challenger, I was in 6th grade. The Towers, I was teaching high school. I was teaching high school when the Towers came down. So the Towers came down, and they did not send anybody home for that either. They didn't send people
Where were
home.
you teaching high school?
In Pennsylvania. It was my last job before I moved to New York. I moved to New York end of 2003. That was September 2001. I just started a new job at a high school, and I was teaching, and that happened. It was on the TV monitors, and we kept everybody in school.
9/11 happened. I was in 3rd grade, and they sent us home.
You were in 3rd grade?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was born in 1991. That's why I have such great brown. That's why my hair is not a gray to be seen.
What are you, 28?
I was in 3rd grade when 9/11 happened. No, I was a freshman in college. I was a freshman in college, and they sent us home.
Wow. Well,
unless you lived
Pennsylvania high school, we didn't send
Towers, then they said don't go home. Then.
Well, I mean, I think it goes back to if there's so much crazy stuff going on in the world then and now that and it's only gotten like the media has made it, is covering more of it now, and they're covering it very, very negatively in order to get clicks. So, which is money now, you know what I mean? The for-profit.
There's no we in media. It's only me.
No. So I think
There's no I in media either.
I think that I feel good the fact that you are putting a loaded gun into the crib with your child and letting him get familiar with it.
Mm-hmm. He loves the smell of the grease and the hot metal.
Well, I also think that you should put a camera phone in there so that he can start taping himself, doing selfies, doing testimonials. Even if he doesn't know words, he could still cry a certain way and video himself and start his own. I mean, you should start his TikTok now. I know you don't want to put him on film, but you're really denying him a career.
I want to. My wife refuses to. He's so cute that this kid will be famous in a week. We'll all be famous in a week. When my wife says, we don't like money here. We don't like followers.
It sounds like she's the real. Can I say a joke? Mm-hmm. It sounds like she's the real baby in all of this. Did she hear it? Is Tita not going to let us do this podcast again?
She's going for the internet cord right now. She's pulling it out.
Ah, man.
Come on.
Come on, Tita.
Come on.
Come on, Tita.
Come on, Tita. All right, let's wrap this up. I got to get going. I got to buy a gun to put in my kid's crib.
Okay. Are there any shout-outs?
I'd like to shoot out Harvey Weinstein. I'm still fighting for you, pal. I know you're innocent.
Oh, Chooch of the Week. Let's do Chooch of the Week.
Harvey Weinstein.
No, I got to counter that.
Okay.
The people who are accusing Jussie Smollett. I'm pro Jussie now. I'm pro Jussie. His trial is happening right now. I don't know when this airs. Jussie Smollett, he's not the Chooch of the Week. The people accusing him are the Chooches of the Week. I think that guy's an actor. He's staying in character. He's a true artist. He's not letting it go. The fact that everybody's like, just admit it, and he goes, no, the show must go on. I love that. So the prosecutor and the people going after Jussie Smollett, you guys are the Chooches of the Week.
I want to have a caveat to that. I'm pro Jussie Smollett only if he faked that whole thing. Yes. I am a go-getter. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I had a plan, and I didn't go through with it, but I should have. I was going to have one of my friends put a fake gun, or try to rob one of the guys in the comic strip live so they would pass me to work that club about 20 years ago. I was very close to being like, look, just go up, say you're going to rob him. I'll run in, grab you. He'll run. The next day I'll walk in. They'll be like, I thought I was never going to see you again. I go, you work here at the comic strip? I'm a comedian. Yeah. And then have him go, why don't you audition for me? No audition. Yes. You work every show now.
That's right. There's something we said. I'm pro that too. And I love a good hoax. And I think that if you're at home going, I don't love a good hoax, this is the wrong podcast for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
This is Legion of Pranks.
This is Legion of Pranks. This is a good
Pranks.
Legion of Pranks.
Sorry.
This is that's a great hoax, and I think we should think of more hoaxes.
Right.
I think he's got the right idea actually, and everybody else is wrong. So
I think you're right. All right, I love you.
I love you,
shout
buddy,
out.
and I love the fans. Thank you guys for all of your support. We're in this together. Macaroni forever. Legion of Franks. For
Oh, we had a great Patreon episode we have to tell them about.
Yeah,
really
go ahead,
funny
Greg.
Patreon episode.
Go ahead.
Sign on now with the Macaroni Rascals Patreon. Get that extra content. The episode that went up was so funny and so good. Donate $5 or $10 or $100. It all goes to the League of Anti-Defamation for Italians to keep our names out of your fucking mouth.
Keep our names out your mouth.
And do you have any dates to plug?
No, I might.